Hey guys, can you hear me? Let's see if you can hear me. I'm trying to turn the music off. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Good. Okay. It's been a while. I have not gone live in a couple weeks. Let's see here. Let's go to chat and see if you guys are commenting. Okay. Hey, there's people here. Yes. Hello. Okay, you can hear me. Thanks, Clancy on YouTube. Okay, let's do this. Let's get this show going. If it's a show, I don't know. Okay, so I've been busy. I am a mom, so I have mom stuff going on a lot. They're my number one priority. Hello from Colorado. I'm in Colorado too, Lisa. What's up? Gosh, what's going on out there? You doing good? I'm just drinking a glass of Jack. Oh, all right. So wow, nice. Starting early. This is just coffee. Often people say like that they think I'm drinking. I'm not drinking. This is just my personality. I come across as maybe perhaps I'm drinking, but I'm not. I don't do that till later in the evening. No, okay. So anyways, hello from Florida. What's up, Maryland? I've been busy doing mom stuff, lots going on here, and just kind of watching. I'm kind of in like this observing place right now. Getting into other stuff. I'm starting to do radio a little bit more. I'm really enjoying that. I really feel like I'm supposed to be in the media realm. I don't know exactly what doors God wants me in or what doors will open for that, but that's just something I feel like I'm kind of called to. So just been kind of working on that aspect. And hey, from Tennessee, hey, Brian, what's up? Kentucky, what's up, Kim? So I just, and then mom stuff. My son's now in baseball, so we're doing that, martial arts. We've got stuff going on, and I'm watching. You guys are probably watching too. Are you guys watching what's going on? A little terrifying, a little scary. But okay. So we'll start with what the scary, and then I'm going to end on a good note because, some good stuff's happening, whether you see it or not. Good stuff's happening. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. People are like, "Right, okay, Rachel, yeah, it's okay. Are you sure there's nothing else in that coffee?" No, there's some good stuff happening behind the scenes, and sometimes it's hard to decipher. I think we're getting hit hard with a lot of junk. And okay, so let's dive into the junk. First of all, I think I'm going to start a thing where it's my favorite meme of the week. So if you have a meme that like you love, send it my way because I'm starting to I love memes. I've always been a meme person. I've always been like, oh, I love memes. But I think sometimes memes can say something without you having to say anything. It's like a form of art, really. So this is my favorite meme. We are the resistance for this week. We're going to go with this one. I love it that like you see all of these big corporations. You got CNN, Coca-Cola, Major League Baseball, Facebook, Twitter, Netflix, of course, all of Hollywood, the Democrat Party, Washington Post, Nike, all of these guys, right? And what's funny to me about this meme is the people that like they hate corporations, right? You always hear like these leftists that are like, oh, let's go after the corporations and the vice presidents and the presidents and the top execs and little do they know that they're actually on the same team as these players because the big corporations, the woke corporations are globalists, right? I mean, they're globalists. They are all on board with globalism. They are definitely all for appeasing communist China. China on this, behind the scenes is like torturing people, forcing abortion, organ harvesting, just terrible humane rights violations. And these corporations are like, yeah, it's okay because we love China because, China makes things cheap. China, so like, big tech is basically mirroring how the Chinese Communist Party plays their people, right? Like they suppress free speech. You're not, everything goes through state-run media, and basically big tech has become our state-run media, along with, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, which we're going to cover in a second because stuff's coming out about them. So it's funny to me when these woke leftists are like, yeah, let's stick it to the corporations and down with Wall Street. When it's like, dude, you're on the same team as Wall Street. You're on the same team as all these big corporations because these big corporations want globalism, and you're just a ignorant, really like guinea pig or lab rat in the maze, not knowing that you are actually being played by all these guys. So let's go back to it again one more time. My favorite meme, meme of the week. We are the resistance. It's like, you're not the resistance. Sorry. Thanks for playing, but you're not. So I just thought that was funny. So I'm going to share funny stuff. Okay. So, so this ties into this infrastructure bill that's kind of circling around, that Biden is all like, hey, let's tax the corporations. Let's tax the corporations, and, we'll pay for this $2 trillion infrastructure bill that doesn't really cover anything in infrastructure. The big thing to note here is I'm all for, I really am. And though being a conservative and not wanting to spend a lot, I'm all for building up roads and bridges, assuring up our infrastructure, pouring money into our economy that way. That creates jobs, it creates, a spike in our steel industry, spikes in all Caterpillar, all these other businesses that build and create and help with infrastructure when we implement this. The important thing to note about infrastructure is when you're pouring money back into our country, right? Like you're building bridges, you're building good roads, that's an investment. Right. So it's like, it's not, it doesn't go against our debt necessarily, because it actually is like an investment. It's like your home, right? You got a home, you need to make some updates. Well, while you update your home, you're actually making an investment, and you're going to be able to, if you had to down the road, sell it for more because you're investing in it. That's how I see infrastructure. I see it as an investment in our country. It's pouring money back into our country. What the Democrats are doing, though, is it's not infrastructure, right? They're labeling as infrastructure, but very little goes towards roads and bridges. In fact, Mitch McConnell is saying that only 6% of the $2 trillion goes towards roads and bridges. Okay. This is basically, this infrastructure bill that they want to pass is this $2 trillion is basically like the Green New Deal. Okay. It's a leftist agenda that doesn't, it's not going to boost our country or make us better in any way. It's not an investment, okay? It's actually going to bankrupt us in various ways. It's driving us deeper into debt. And some of the stupid stuff that's in this thing, electric vehicles, okay? Electric vehicles over time, it's like, did you invest in a car? Like anyone that's a thinking person knows the minute you drive a new car off the car lot, the value goes down, right? So that's not an investment. Child care facilities and a ton of this crap is climate change related. Okay. So it's basically just a giant waste of money and drives us deeper into debt, and then puts that bill onto our kids and our grandkids. It's not an investment. If it was $2 trillion invested in bridges and roads and real infrastructure, I'd be like, all right, okay. I could see, I can maybe get behind that. Yeah, maybe, but not this. So, and what's funny again is they think, hey, we're going to stick it to the corporations. We're going to make corporations pay for this. Corporations are made of people. Okay. So before you go hating corporations are made of people. Okay. And the people, the big corporations like Jeff Bezos recently came out. He's like, yeah, I think that you should stick it to the corporations. I think that we should pay for it. I do. Okay. Like the reason why he's saying that is because it's not him that's going to pay for it. It's the middle guy. Okay. I am married to a man that works in a corporation and it's middle tier, right? So when the top execs and VPs and CEOs and all that are like, taxes are going up, we need to pay for this, they don't get hit. Their yachts, their third and fourth homes, they're not the ones that take the hit. It's the middle guy. It's the guy in management that's like, hey, sorry, we're going to have to do some layoffs. So you don't have a job anymore. That's how it works, okay? That's how it works. You're not sticking it to the middleman here. You're not sticking it to the high up guy. You are sticking it to the middleman. And, or you're going to it's going to hit your wallet because they're just going to jack up prices. So, or they're going to go overseas, right? I mean, if you're a big corporation, they're like, hey, we're going to come at you and jack up the tax rate on you. Do you think they're going to stay here? Like, do you think you're going to be like, okay, let's stay in America and continue to get hit hard? No, they're going to up and leave. So China in the background is like, yes, this is good. This is good for us. It's all a big high five to China because a lot of these corporations will up and go and make their stuff over in China. This is just, it's so stupid. But this is what happens when you have career politicians running things right now. They don't have any experience in economics. They have no experience in business. They don't know how businesses operate. They've never signed the front of a check. Okay. I have learned so much in having my own small business the last couple of years on how things operate, how to pay taxes, how to pay out people that you've hired on for certain jobs that I do. I do consult. So I've learned so much. And these people making these decisions, they don't run businesses. They have no idea. They have no idea what they're doing. And it shows. Okay, so this is a fun one. Today, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. I love this guy. He's constantly going behind the scenes and just expose because our mainstream media won't do it, right? Our mainstream media is basically a left-wing super PAC for the Democrat Party. So they're not going to expose. They're not going to talk truth. They're not going to talk truth at all. And here's something I want to specifically say about the truth and about, like, there's a lot of questioning going on right now. Like, I've been highly censored because I spoke out, like, on, vaccines. I spoke out on CDC. I spoke out on the election. And the truth has no problem being questioned, right? If you are the truth, people can ask you a zillion questions, like, because you're confident that it's the truth, right? But when you're skewing things, when you're lying about things, they hate the truth and they want to shut you down for speaking the truth or asking questions in any way. So if somebody comes at you and they just say, stop asking questions, just stop it, that immediately you got to know they're lying, right? So that's just a side note here, because the truth has no problem being questioned. And I've noticed this last year and a half, if you ask questions or if you're skeptic in any way, the hostility, right? The hate that comes at you for asking questions, they're immediately like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, or they immediately try to label you and you're like, I'm just asking questions. Like, I'm not. That should say something. Like, anybody that's hating on anybody for asking questions, that person's probably lying. Or that organization is probably lying. So James O'Keefe has gone behind the scenes. He's got some I don't know who he is. He's got some guy from CNN. I'll just roll the tape. Watch this. It's pretty. It's good stuff.
I think we got him through this term. We would always show shots of him jogging, him in aviator shades, and like you paint him as a young geriatric.
We were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about. So that's I think that's propaganda.
Look what we did. We got Trump out. I am 100% going to say it. And I 100% believe it, that if it wasn't for CNN, I don't know that Trump would have got voted out.
Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
Do you think it's going to be just like a lot of like fear, like climate?
Yeah, fear sells. Fear sells.
No one ever says those things out loud, but it's obvious.
For years, we've heard that CNN is the most trusted name in news, but a CNN director is on tape telling us that their propaganda, helping a certain political candidate, employees admitting what we've always known to be true.
Trump was, I don't know, like his hand was shaking or whatever like that. We brought in like so many medical people to like all tell a story that like it was all speculation. That he was like neurological damage, like that he was losing it, he's unfit to, you know, whatever. We were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about. You know, I think there's just like a COVID fatigue. So like whenever a new story comes up, they're going to latch onto it. They've already announced in our office that once the public will be open to it, we're going to start focusing mainly on climate. It's going to be our focus. Like our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
Who decides that?
The head of the network, like just
Who's that? Is that Zucker?
Zucker, yeah.
Climate change is going to be the next COVID thing for CNN. We're gonna hone in.
Focus on.
Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was.
And that's the question, Mr. Zucker. Why is it so important to hide the truth of what you're really
See, look at that. I mean, so it's Charlie Chester. He's a CNN director over at CNN. Next, they're going to focus on climate change, guys. So if you're curious, like what was next up in the performance, the theatrical performance of CNN, political influence performance, whatever you want to call it, they're just basically, it's basically the Democrats' agenda. So if you're curious, like what the Democrats are going to push next, CNN just told us it's climate change. I mean, if you've been getting your news from CNN, you're indoctrinated, like straight up. Like they have like it. You're willingly indoctrinating yourself at this point if you're still watching CNN. Like you're just sitting there, propaganda coming at you, and you're like eating it, an idiot, basically. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just true. It's just true. Like at this point, I dare say almost all of our mainstream media is operating on a globalist agenda, attempting to just basically, instead of presenting the news like it used to be, like, hey, there was a car crash on I-25 and, 6 people were injured and, one person has died. That presenting the facts. Instead of that, it's now there's a story. They're trying to create a story behind it. Well, one of the drivers was a certain race, and it looks like maybe there was racism involved in the accident. And there's always some kind of story pushing behind it that our mainstream media is now pushing. So you're not getting the news. You're getting a performance. You're getting a story that's being pumped out by the Democrat Party saying, hey, this is what we're going with. And they just go with it. And sadly, I've got friends, I've got people I know that literally sit and watch CNN. And then when you try to question, they just regurgitate what they've been said instead of going after and finding the truth yourself. And it's a perfect example of this. Jen Psaki, the new, she's the press secretary or whatever. Somebody said, hey, it looks like conservative white America is not, some of them are hesitant to get this vaccine. And she's like, well, now we're going to go into we're going to work the faith communities, knowing that conservatives go to church. Lots of them do. And we're going to be on I think she said what is this? Some show on, I think it's Discovery or The Big Catch or where somebody write it down. Somebody was watching. Tell me that where they catch fish or whatever, totally stereotyping white conservatives. They watch this show at The Biggest Catch or something like that. Like they watch this show, they do these things, and we're going to like push them in that avenue of media to try to influence them. I've got news for the Jen Psaki's. I've got news for all of you leftists out there. I'm not influenced by like Hollywood. I'm not influenced by a TV show that I watch. I'm not influenced by like, oh, okay, my pastor told me to do it. I don't do what other people tell me to do. I think for myself. It's called individual thought, actually. And I have it. I know it's crazy in today's world, but I'm not doing the things I'm not doing, and I'm choosing to not do certain things because I put thought into it. Individual thought. I'm not a lemming. I'm not part of the group. I'm an individual, and I think independently. And no matter what you put on the TV, I mean, every single time the radio's on, there's this constant like vaccine. People are dying. It's terrible. Even though you've been vaccinated, please wear a mask, socially distance. There's new strains. Fear. And like I'm like laughing. I'm laughing because I know what they're trying to do. I think independently. Okay. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, like a lot of these people are. So, and I do believe that the conservatives out there, like me, think the same way. They think independently. They don't need you to come at them and tell them what they should and should not do. Okay. They are making decisions based on their individual health and what they believe in, not because somebody else has influenced them or told them what to do. And it's shocking to me because see, like the leftists, they're like, oh, we'll just go after like the big pop stars and we'll just go after Hollywood, and Hollywood will take care of the left because the left ignorantly listens to Hollywood. Like, okay, Morgan Freeman told me to get the vaccine, so I guess I'll go get the vaccine because Morgan Freeman told me to. That's the left. But they're struggling here with the right because they're like, Hollywood's not going to cut it. So let's go on The Biggest Catch. Is that a show? I heard it might be a show. I don't know. Let's get into the churches. We got to push this somehow because they're not, the fear is not working. So that's what we're dealing with here. And it's funny to me as we watch this Jen girl, tell me that, how they're going to get me now. Like, if you haven't done it yet, we're going to come into your churches. My pastor starts telling me to get the vaccine. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out of church. I don't need my pastor telling me what I need to inject my body with. Okay. Speaking of, let's just go there. Johnson & Johnson has now recalled the FDA and CDC has now recommended that Johnson & Johnson pull their shot because of blood clots. Yeah. So, Rachel, you're so crazy for being hesitant. Like you're just so crazy. Like, where's your tinfoil hat, Rachel? Like, you should get the vaccine, Rachel. Like, you should do it, okay? And the fact that you're not means that you're selfish. Like, you're so selfish. Even though I got the vaccine and I should be vaccinated from anybody else that's not vaccinated, you should get it too because I want to tell you what you should and should not do because I'm a leftist and I don't believe in individualism at all or freedom of choice. I don't. So you need to do that, okay? And you're so selfish. Well, I opted out of the blood clots. So let's see what else develops from this. Speaking of, I'm not surprised that there's blood clots. I'm not surprised there's blood clots. The reason why is because when I had COVID, I started to really research, like dive into it. I mean, when you're personally infected with something, you're like, okay, like what am I dealing with here? And I had insane headaches, like terrible headaches with COVID. And they lasted for it was like almost 2 solid weeks of a headache, even though I was taking ibuprofen, bad headaches. And then I started to research and I started to come across like blood clots were being found in some of people that had COVID, right? And I know someone that got a huge blood clot, was rushed to the hospital, totally fine now, but that we now believe that they might have had COVID because just blood clots were showing up out of nowhere. A friend of mine, they lost a family friend because of a blood aneurysm, like just went to the brain aneurysm. So this was happening with COVID, right? And actually, Harvard, the American Journal in August of 2020 put out a study that found that blood clots were prevalent in COVID-19 patients. So it's not surprising to me, be it that the Johnson & Johnson is the most like a real vaccine, right? It's not messenger RNA vaccine stuff. It's more of like, hey, we're going to give the virus to you. So I'm not surprised, to be honest, that blood clots is happening, because like if you're really getting a vaccine and you're putting it in your body, then you're going to get some of that to happen to you. My concern is these other vaccines. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into it because Facebook's going to get up on me now. But we don't know what they are. And long term, I'm just saying. So we're going to follow this. Of course, we're going to follow this. I saw Fauci earlier today being like, it's fine. It's no big deal. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know. I fall into that category of these women. What is it? 18 to 49. Hello. That's hi. You know, I had COVID. I survived it. I'm okay. I would say drink lots of water, vitamin D, C, zinc. Make sure your zinc is tied to copper. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just saying that's what I've done. Okay. And I'm fine. Okay. So that I just found that interesting with the blood clots. Okay. Also, I don't know if this needs to be said. All of these vaccines right now out there are emergency use authorized. They're emergency use authorized. Okay. They have not gone through certain steps that the FDA usually requires because they're being used in an emergency situation. Like, you guys know that. Like, because I'm telling people that and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, EUA, they're EUA vaccines. Like, and they're like, what? I'm like, just so you know that, like, know that. I'm just relaying the information. And I'm not going to say what you should and should not do. It is up to you what you do with your body. It's individual choice. And I believe in that. I believe that if you feel like you want to get the vaccine, go get it. I believe if you don't feel like you want to get the vaccine, don't get it. You need to do what's right for your body. Okay. I know this sounds crazy, and it's not selfish to not get the vaccine, because if you're vaccinated, you should be safe, right? So let's just clarify that, because the mask thing was like, oh, I'm not wearing a mask for me. I'm wearing a mask for you. Like I'm wearing the mask to protect, you know, like but now it's different. Okay. Now we're straight up talking vaccine. We're not masks, you know, the mask, you know, the particles fly on COVID and they go into you and your mouth stops it. And, you know, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're talking about the vaccine. Okay. So if you're vaccinated, you're fine. Like, so just do your thing. You do you. And for the record, I'm not participating in any vaccine passports. Okay. Not participating. So if you're a store or a business or an airline that's like, hey, let's get these vaccine passports up in here, I'm not participating. So you have lost my business. I'm not coming. I'm not going. I'm not gonna go to your business. I won't fly. That's fine. My husband and I are actually looking into like what are little campers or whatever. And I'm like, let's just get a camper and we'll just, you know, hey, I don't need your airline if you're gonna push a vaccine. Okay. I will just straight up drive. Well, that means you can't go overseas, Rachel. Well, so be it. That's just where I stand. I'm not going to be fear-mongered into, oh, well, you gonna? I'm not participating. Oh my gosh, we just need more people to be like, I'm not playing. Like, no, I'm good. You guys do you. I'm going to do me, and I'm choosing not to go to your store, to buy your clothes, to fly on your airlines. I'm not doing it. So you do it. Let me know how it goes. And I'll just be over here enjoying freedom, because I can freely choose what I inject into my body and what I don't. I can't believe I'm even saying this. Like, I can't believe I'm even saying this. Welcome to 2021. Okay. And it's just crazy because like these people, these leftists that are all like, you realize you're pushing more government, right? Like, you guys get that, right? Do you get that? Like, whether you're all on board for it or not, like, you're pushing for more government. You're pushing for more power to be given to an entity. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you're like aiding it. You're like, yeah, let's give you more power. Do you want power? Oh, I got some leftover power. I had a little bit left for me, but I'll give it to you. Just take the rest of my power. You enjoy. And if you study history at all, if you ever have opened a world, history book, people that have absolute power are corrupted absolutely, and they usually kill millions of people. So, but let's not look at that. I mean, that's literally what I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened to people. They stop thinking. Like, people are like, I'm done thinking. I'm done, like, questioning. I'm just going to go with whatever you tell me to do. I'll just do what you say. I'm not. In other news, I'm going to close this up because I've been going way long here. Just so you guys know, a Michigan lawsuit has recently shown evidence of election fraud and electronic vote tampering. Okay, so this, I'm just going to straight up read it because people are like, what? You can't talk about this. Okay, Michigan attorney Matthew DePerno filed a lawsuit challenging voter fraud and electronic meddling in the 2020 election in his state. Basically, the lawsuit filed last week is based on several forensic reports. These reports reveal thousands of ballots were illegally cast for Joe Biden, and they were electronic manipulation of votes. DePerno found that more than 66,000 unregistered ballots were counted in 9 Michigan counties. The suit also cited a forensic analysis by James Penrose, who found voting machines illegally used wireless technology to transmit votes totals to third parties. Okay. This includes Rock the Vote, the Clinton campaign, and all those people who have access to voter rolls can make changes to it at any time. They can add people to it, take people out during the election, the night of the election, and the day after the election. So this is just, he's just laying out the facts. So I'm not Facebook and Twitter and big tech, YouTube. I'm just reading what the lawsuit has found evidence. It's moving forward. We'll see what happens. But this is dated yesterday, April 12th. Matthew DePerno, his lawsuit in Michigan. So this is what I got to say. I'm going to close down with this. The truth comes out. Like it does. And it might take a while. It might take a while for the truth to come out. You might be feeling like, oh my gosh, it is so freaking dark out there right now. But I'll tell you, the truth comes out. It always comes out. It might take a while, but it will show up. And it doesn't show up in your timeline, and it doesn't show up in your time frame. But I'm telling you, with all this COVID stuff, with all the election stuff, with all the China crap, Hunter Biden, all of it, the truth will come out. And your job is to continue to pray and to press in and to believe God that the truth will come out. And I wrote a blog. I don't know if you guys read it, but I just want to draw from that because I've got people writing me like, oh my gosh, it's so dark. Like, what do I do? I'm concerned about my family. I'm concerned about my kids. Where do we, and I'll tell you this, like last week, and this is from my blog, if you want to read it. I was on the phone with my dad, and Dad's my hero. I'm one of those girls that has an amazing dad, and thank God for it. And we need more good dads out there. Dads watching. So I'm on the phone with him, and I'm like, Dad, man, like I don't, and just venting to him. And he said something to me, and I'm not going to say what it was, but he said something to me that immediately caused me to stop. And there was like this little flicker of hope, right? It was a little flicker. And it wasn't what my dad said. It was basically God talking to me, because God talks through people. He brings people into your life. He'll have people talk to you. It's just straight from God. He'll have you experience things, and it's just God. So he says something to me, and just immediately there's this little tiny spark, right? There's this little tiny thing that ignited inside of me. And I'll tell you, God just needs a spark, right? And once God starts something, he finishes it. He doesn't start something and then he's like, all right, I'm out. He finishes it. He finishes it. And God is not done with America. I'll tell you that right now. God is not done with America. We are a beacon of hope. We are the land of the free. And we also minister to the world. We send missionaries into the world, into unreached people groups. And God is, it's not going to go dark. I'm telling you right now, we're not there yet. At some point we will be there, but we're not there yet. We still have to reach people in unreached people groups. We still have to share the gospel with those that don't know. And so the truth still has to get out there. And I'm believing that the truth is still going to come into our country. I believe that the truth is going to be revealed. I believe that with this little tiny spark, it's going to turn into a flame. And then once you get a flame going, it starts a blaze. And once you start a blaze, I live out in Colorado, man. We have forest fires, and I'm telling you, you don't want to be caught up in that forest fire, because once that thing starts going, there's no way to get out. There's no way. And once God starts moving, I'm telling you guys, once he starts moving, there is no way, no demon in hell, no Democrat, no globalist, no communist China is going to be able to stop what God has planned. And I'm telling you right now, God is on the move. And he brought me to this scripture last week when I was like, God, it looks dark. And this is one of my favorite scriptures, and it's at the very beginning, right? Okay, so it says, darkness was over, this is Genesis 1:2. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Okay, now to hover is to be in motion. Like it's a stirring, though you can't, it's you know what hovering is. It's like a hover, like we have aircrafts that will hover over a space. So God is on the move, even in the midst of the darkness, in the midst of this total darkness, that there was darkness over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So it looks dark, right? But God is hovering. I'm telling you, God is on the move. And God was in motion even in the darkness. And then he spoke, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Bam. So this is what I'm calling everybody that's a believer, because we're the ones that are we're the ones that can solve this, because we have God, right? We have the creator of the universe on our team. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that's a very easy way to decipher right and wrong. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. There is no freedom in communism. There is no freedom in socialism. There is no freedom in globalism. There is freedom in choice, right? That's the very, very beginning. The tree of knowledge of good and evil was put in there because there had to be a choice. God couldn't force humanity to be with him, to have that intimacy with him. There had to be that tree in order to bring in choice. God always wants choice. God always wants individual liberty. God always wants you to be able to choose. He's never going to force himself on you. He's always going to allow you to choose. And we can see right now what the Democrats are pushing. This is not choice. Vaccine passports is not choice. Forced vaccination is not choice. There is no liberty. There is no freedom in that. God is not of that. He is not of force. That is not of God. So it's very easy to be like, okay, if you see force, just know that's not of God. God is removed from that. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And so what we need to do, literally, and God spoke, right? And God spoke. So I mean, there's testimony after testimony I could share with you, and I got way over time at this point of how speaking God's word will bring to pass what he is desiring for us, right? And we got to just start to pray this. We got to start praying. We got to pray for the truth to be revealed. We got to pray for the darkness to be exposed. We got to pray for light. We've got to pray for victory. We've got to pray for revival. Begin to speak it into existence. And I know you're feeling tired right now, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm exhausted. Put on some worship music and just begin to pray. And you know what? When you're walking in faith, you know what faith, a sign of ultimate faith is? It's already done. It's already done, right? Like if you believe God has given you something to you, you thank him. Thank him in advance. Thank him already. I thank you now for the victory. I thank you now for the truth. I thank you now that what's been hidden in darkness is exposed. I thank you now that all of this corruption is exposed. I thank you now for justice. I thank you for our Supreme Court, God. I thank you that righteousness rules the reign. Any blackmail that's taking place on our Supreme Court, any spirit of fear, I believe that some of these justices are operating under a spirit of fear. You got to rebuke that stuff, and you got to command light to come to our Supreme Court, righteousness to have her way, and just begin to speak it. You just got to start speaking it. Call things that are not as though they are. That's faith, right? So you just got to start to speak this stuff into existence. And when somebody gives you something, you thank them for it, right? Like if my daughter gives me a little picture, thank you. This is beautiful. You thank them. It's a gift. So begin to thank God for it. All right, now that I've rambled on forever and ever, that's my sermon. But I do believe that there's a flicker. The flicker has started, and the flame is going to grow. And I know that might sound like, what? That's crazy, Rachel. That's just crazy. It's too late. Never too late. Okay, and God is never too late. And everything God is always on time, right? It's not like, oh, this is just great, God. Thanks a lot. Like, he knows what he's doing. You got to trust in that. You got to relax in that and abide under the shadow of his wings. Just read Psalms 91 this week. Just get into Psalms 91. If you have any kind of fear on you, if you have any kind of anxiety, get into that. That is one of the most powerful passages in Psalms of just completely abiding in him, because that's what we need to be doing. And then just begin to speak. Begin to speak. I believe that smolder started. It's turning into a little flicker. It's going to turn into a flame. And I'm telling you, once that flame starts, blaze. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. And be on the right team. I'm telling you. Because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Walk in freedom. Abide in freedom. Trust God for freedom. Freedom will rule and reign. Okay? All right, you guys. God bless. Share this video. I know it's been super long. I'm going to upload it on my podcast. I did start a podcast. Gosh, where is Podbeam, Conservative Momma. I'll try to share a link on some of this stuff. Also, if you want to support, I am on Patreon. Facebook has taken away my support. I'm only allowed to keep the supporters I have. They won't allow me to get new because I share truth. That's it. Oh, PayPal. I have PayPal too. But whatever. I mean, God's got me. So God bless you guys, and we'll talk soon.